Welcome to the Total Boss Podcast, and I'm your host, Christiano Green, a podcast where we talk about finding fulfillment through self-development, being a leader of your own life, and getting the most out of it as well. Tenacity, originality, talent, authenticity, and being legendary. It's all about living your best life. Hello, all you total bosses out there, and welcome to another episode of the Total Boss Podcast. Now, I am your host, Christiano Green, and I am a mindset and transformation coach working with gay men to help them transform their trauma into triumph so they can be confident, have more self-worth, self-love, self-esteem, self-confidence, so they can live a life worth living. Now, this week's episode, we are going to talk about one of my favorite topics, which is identity. So talking about who am I, our sense of self, right? Now, our sense of self refers to, our perception of the collection of characteristics that really, define us, our personality traits, our abilities, the things that we like and dislike, our belief system, or even, our moral code, and the things that actually, motivate us in life. These all contribute to, our self-image and our unique identity as a person. People who can easily describe these aspects of their identity typically have, a fairly strong sense of who they are. When you can struggle to name more than a few of these characteristics, it might point to a less defined sense of self. Now, why is it important? Some people can make it, pretty far in life without really giving their identity, that much thought. You might wonder, does a strong sense of self really make a difference? And the truth is it absolutely does, right? Having a well-defined sense of self is, hugely beneficial in helping us make choices in life, from something as small as our favorite foods or favorite color to, larger concerns like personal values, knowing what comes from our own self versus what is actually coming from the people around us, people that we might want to please, which, is going to allow us to live more authentically. So it's really important for us to really check in with our sense of self, because if we don't have a strong identity, a strong sense of who we are, it can really play mind games on us, right? It's difficult when, you're really wanting to go out there and push yourself and meet people. Maybe you want to build more friends, have better relationships with your family. You might struggle to connect with people in the community, or even that, you might find that you've been wanting to find a partner for so long. And the thing is when we don't really define and understand who we are, it's really hard for us to say this is what we really want and become a match to that, because in life and in the world, when it comes to spirituality in the universe, like attracts like. And if we aren't a match to what we want because we aren't defining our own identity, it's going to play a big factor in us actually achieving what we want to get. So, like I said, if it's moving towards a career that we want to have, whether it's, like I said, finding a relationship for ourselves, if we don't have these things figured out, then we are going to struggle to actually get to that place. We're going to struggle to find that we meet those things, right? Our identity is very important to us. We are, all individuals here. A lot of us sometimes, have attachment to different people, and oftentimes we want to please other people. And sometimes along the way, we lose that sense of self, which really makes it really difficult, like I said, to really go out and get what you really want to have in life. So kind of where does your sense of self fall on the spectrum, right? Perhaps you're noticing, patterns of making choices based on what you kind of think other people want from you. Or maybe you don't have many ambitions right now, or you've got not a lot of deep-seated passions, and sometimes you're just going with the flow in life, and that can be good, but it also can be bad if you do have, dreams that you just are daydreaming about. Oftentimes we live in a world of daydreams, right? And we want a different life to what we currently have. And that's often because we don't have a strong sense of who we are to then go and create the life that we want, right? If we don't know who we are and we can't define it, how can we then put our dreams into reality? Because that is really what we want at the end of the day, is to live that dream life. We don't want to be living in the daydream. We want our life to be the reality that we want, so that we can actually live life with absolute happiness. Now, obviously, it's important for us to really ask ourselves some important questions that can really offer us some insight. So, do I say yes to make others happy? Are you the type of person that's a people pleaser who, is out there, oftentimes just saying yes because that's what other people want from you? Or maybe you're just not sure within yourself enough, so you say yes because, again, you don't want to rock the boat. If you're one of those people who's often saying yes to others, but also saying no to yourself at the same time, this can be a big factor. I would be looking out and asking yourself, what am I saying yes to? Other people, and is that going against what I really want? And if you are doing that, how can you make small shifts in your life to start saying no to them and yes to you as well? So that's going to help you to define who you are and go further down into your identity. Next is, what are your strengths? What are the things that you're really good at in life and that you kind of, navigate towards, right? We all have these things, that people might call talents, but, when it comes to strengths, really what talent or strength is that you have just got something that you found you're an interest in or you're passionate about, and you do it enough times that you become really good at it. So these are your strengths, your skills, and, there can be anything from like learning a task to just like, your personality trait. You might have really strong personality in one way and not in another. And it's about really understanding what are those strengths. So then you can go and, move towards that, because the more you understand your strengths, this is going to be stronger to your identity. And the same thing goes to, what are the things that are your weaknesses, and are you happy or bothered by them being your weakness, right? Because sometimes, we're not going to be great at everything, right? When we start to grow and evolve, we start to realize that some things just don't matter to us as much as they might to someone else, right? Obviously when we look at people who are, really good at something, let's just say tennis, because, you all know that I love tennis. Those people who are obviously the best in the world, that is their strength. They love it. They move towards it. They play it. They live it. That's their life. So all of the skills that they need to be great at it, they work towards, whether that's their fitness, whether that's their technique, whether that is their mindset, right? They work on those things. And for someone else who doesn't really love that, they're not going to be focused on those areas. So someone else might be focused on really having great relationships with people. So they might navigate towards their communication skills, connection, empathy, really truly understanding human behavior, right? It all depends on you and what you're passionate about. So when you understand your strengths, you can move towards that and really understand your identity at a core. What is it in life that brings you, happiness? If you can find out what makes you happy, move towards that. That is going to be a big part of your identity as well, because when you're focusing on your happiness, obviously there's something connecting and there's something that's moving in the right direction. So if you really understand what in life makes you happy, whether that is your family, whether that is your career, whether that is, traveling, whether that is, whatever it is, right? There's so many things that can make us happy, right? It could just be reading, right? Could be studying, could be growing, all of those different areas. If you can really define that, again, that's going to be a lot about understanding your own identity, right? What are your values? In life, we all have things we value, and oftentimes our behaviors are led by our values. And sometimes we do have values that are conflicting, and sometimes we might need to make a shift. With my clients, oftentimes I'll do this thing called a values elicitation, where we go in and we look at a certain area of your life, whether that's your relationship or your business or, your sense of self, right? And then what we do is we'll do a values elicitation and really understand what are your most important values, what order they're in, and whether you're moving towards them or away from something, right? Because when we look at towards and away values, it could be, let's just say, I value happiness. And the reason I value happiness is because, I've been very lonely in my life and just unhappy and depressed. And so I want to move away from my depression. So that would be a kind of a negative reason for me to focus on my happiness. But maybe for someone else, if they're moving towards happiness, it might be that, I just want to be living at peace. I want to be happy. I want to make sure that I am feeling good. I'm doing things that are right. And someone who's probably focused on that has a stronger sense of their self than someone who's probably moving away from, say, loneliness or depression, etc. Right? So really understanding your values and putting them into place, and then understanding, are you living according to them? Because again, sometimes having them in different orders is going to play an effect on how you act, right? So it's really just looking at them and defining them to the core, so you can start to really, again, get a sense of your identity. Now, the next one is do your choices reflect your interests, or are they reflecting other people's? So again, if you're out there and you're seeing the things that you're saying yes to and the decisions that you're making, and you're doing them maybe because, you want to please someone else, that can be, again, a sense of where is your full sense of identity. Maybe you're struggling with fully defining that yourself. If your choices are reflecting what you like and what you want to do, and you're focusing on all of the good and the positive, then again, you probably have a stronger sense of your identity as well. So what are some of the factors that are going to influence your identity? Now, that could be, your own individuality, because again, there's 7+ billion people on the planet. I don't know exactly what the numbers are, but every single person is an individual. Now, we all have things that we have in common, but no two people are going to be exactly the same, right? They're all going to have different things that they enjoy, that they love, that they move towards, right? So if you have a strong sense of individuality, again, that's going to tie into your identity as well. If you don't, and you're not sure and you're not clear on really what it is that is individual about you, what's special about you, that's going to be something that I would suggest you want to work on, figuring out what are the things that make you special and make you an individual as well. Now, what else is going to affect your identity? Well, your attachment, right? We all grow up in different environments, right? Whether that's with our parents, our friendships, our family, our partners. Sometimes we have attachment issues where, we're too attached to, our family, and we try to please them too much. So if we become too attached to what everyone else is wanting, we start to lose our sense of self, because maybe we're focused more on the family. Now, there's nothing wrong with focusing on family, but you also need to focus on what it is that you want, because the more happier you can be, the more happy you are going to be able to be within your relationships as well, right? So your attachment is going to affect and influence your identity as well, right? People in your family will help define you as well, right? Because we grow up together and we share experiences, and those experiences will obviously shape your identity moving forward, because you'll either realize that something is connecting you or something that's disconnecting you, and something that you're interested in or not, right? And there'll be a lot of stuff that you can go through there as well. Also, desire to fit in. Again, growing up in school, a lot of people have this, need, because of the way that society is built, is to fit in, right? And oftentimes we don't always maybe make choices that are right for us, and we do things that, are there to please other people again, right? And so if we have that desire to fit in, and it's a deep desire to fit in, oftentimes we're going to lose our sense of self, and we really need to step into our own power to really get to the place where we need to do. So what do you need to do to really build a strong sense of self? Now, I've mentioned a little bit before, but number one is defining your values. If you can go through a list and really understand what it is that you value in the different areas of your life, whether it's your relationship, your business, or, your own personal life, this is going to help you to really understand that. What are the things that are most important to you when it comes to your values? Again, that could be being happy. That could be, following your heart. That could be being a strong person. That could be being empathetic, right? All of the different things that you value will be there. And it's about understanding that. And like I said, I do that with my clients, doing a value elicitation. It's such a great way for us to see where they value and what's been aligned and what needs to be shifted, because we can do that, again, with many techniques such as timeline therapy, one-day personal breakthrough, parts integration, right? Depends on whether there's a conflict between that as well. Spending time alone is going to really help you also to get a strong sense of self, because the more time you spend alone, the more you get to understand yourself, right? If you're spending your time alone and you're really kind of pondering on life and, spending time trying to grow and really understand what it is that you like and dislike, that's going to help you to build that stronger sense of self. So really allowing yourself to spend some time alone and be happy in your aloneness, not lonely, but alone. It's okay to be alone when you are, doing things with a purpose as well, right? It's okay for that. You also give yourself some space to breathe, to connect, and allow yourself to recalibrate, right? Something else is, how do you consider how you are going to achieve your ideal situation, right? So making plans, right? If you really know what you want in life, or you're wanting to figure it out, it's about going, what do I need to do to make a plan for me to achieve my goals, to achieve my ideal situation, right? It's important for us to really get there and get to a place so that we can all be there for ourselves, right? When is it important for us to, get help when it comes to identity, right? If you're feeling stuck in who you are, get some help, right? Talk to someone who can really coach you through understanding more of who you are, so you can actually step yourself into the next level, right? If you're dealing with, mental health things like depression, anxiety, suicidal thoughts, addictions, right? That's a good time to get some help, because maybe that's the reason why you're struggling with that, is because you don't have a strong sense of who you are and what you want out of life, right? Helping yourself through picking yourself up from low self-esteem, low self-worth, low self-confidence, right? all of those areas, if you're stuck there, get some help, because this is going to help you to define your identity. Because I bet you 99% of the time it's an identity crisis which is leading you to feel that way, right? If you're feeling constantly unhappy, again, focus on what you can do to become happy. Again, probably understanding yourself on a deeper level is going to make you more happy and make you focus on yourself and move forward towards your dreams. And finally, if you have some career or relationship concerns in life, right? Again, when you're struggling to make a decision, whether that's, should I stay in this career, or I'm unhappy with my relationship, or I can't get a relationship, those things again will come from not a strong sense of who you are in your identity. So getting some help in those areas is really going to, help define that for you, right? If I look at my life, right, I've gone through a number of different identity crises and changes, right? The big one for a lot of people in the gay community is your identity of coming out as a gay man, right? That is a massive crisis throughout time. And for some people, it takes years and decades to really come to terms with it. Even if you have come out, right, it's about stepping into and owning it, right? But the thing is being gay is a huge part of us. It's a big part of our identity, but it isn't the thing that defines us fully, right? We're a holistic, fully fledged human being. So our sexuality is just one part of who we are. So really stepping into yourself as a person and what you like and dislike and your passions, right? For people, right? So who do you want to be in love with? Like what energies are that you connect to, right? And allowing yourself to really own that. So being gay again is a part of us, but it isn't the only part of our identity, right? Same with, for me, I had another identity crisis when I, wanted to step into coaching. I'd wanted to do it for so many years, but I was so afraid to come out as a coach, because that meant that I would have to make changes in my life. I would have to go through a big uphaul, and I did. And was it easy? No. But was it rewarding? Yes. So being a coach is a big part of my identity, but it isn't, again, the only thing about me as well, right? When I found a relationship, I was single for so many years. I was an individual going through opening up and becoming a relationship. And I'm actually, in a couple now, to a place where I'm not just myself. I have to shift and change my identity to understand that having a relationship does affect my identity. So a lot of things will always come through, and there's never going to be this straight line where you go, I know myself and I'm going to always know myself. Because again, as we grow and develop, things change. The things we used to like, the things we used to do will shift and evolve. And over time, they will do that. So for myself, again, I've been through many, and I will continue to go through that, right? As you go through ups and downs in your own personal life or in your business or career, that can play on it, right? If things aren't going well in my business, of course, that's going to affect how I feel about myself and my identity, because I am my business. But if things are going really well, then it can be it could be smooth sailing. So it's about getting to a core where I go, you know what? I am not defined by my results. I'm defined by the actions that I'm choosing to take, my decisions, my choices, right? Sometimes my behavior may not match who I am and what I value. So I've got to also understand that I am not my behavior. I am the person behind the behavior. And if I look at the behavior and realize that is not something that I want to be doing, or that's not a person that I want to be showing up as, then that's the level of identity that I need to step into and go, okay, how come my identity of who I see myself as is not showing up in those areas? So really allowing yourself to look at your behavior and go, yes, I did these things, but that doesn't have to define who I am, right? Again, you look at people who've done things badly in life. Some people who've gone to jail or whatnot, right? Whatever it is that they've done, they've made choices, right? Yes, they have to live by those choices. But again, if you let the choices define you in life, sometimes you can allow yourself to move in a direction where it's not positive or helpful for you. You have to own it, own that was a part of your story. But again, you don't have to own that as your identity and moving forward. So it's a really important topic for us to talk about today, as who we are as people, right? Because it's probably the most important question you're ever going to get answered. And it's never going to be fully answered, because again, as we evolve and grow, we shift. Our spirituality changes, our relationship changes, our self-worth, our self-values changes, our career changes, everything changes for us as we shift and step further into our identity. All right, guys. I trust this has been a valuable episode today, and I really, 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 as you know, love hearing all your feedback. So if you've got questions, if you've got feedback on this podcast, feel free to shoot a comment below. Feel free to reach out to me on Facebook, send me a message or comment on the post, right? Keep the conversation going, because I love to hear what it is that you enjoyed about the episode. Or I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to be back next week. Love you guys, and always remember that you've got this and I've got you.